Earlier this week, I had an opportunity to have a conversation with a young man who's fairly new to Unity. He and his fiancée have been attending here for a couple of months. And he has expressed how excited he is about what he's hearing and what he's learning here at Unity. And he reached out to me and wanted to have a meeting. And so I was delighted that he wanted to learn more about Unity. And so we got together and we talked about Unity. He said, tell me a little more about the history of Unity. How did Unity come about? And so I was sharing with him about the history of Unity and how it came out of the Mind Cure movement of the late 1800s. The Mind Cure was the idea that we do have the power to affect that life energy in our body, to connect with the life energy that God is in our body through the power of our thinking and feeling nature, through our consciousness. And as we connect with and allow that life energy in and through our bodies, that our bodies can experience what we think of as healing of disease or imbalance, that our bodies actually come into alignment, into attunement with what is that divine life expressing as us. I shared with him about Myrtle Fillmore's story. And it reminded me, it was a great reminder of some of what we teach, some of what Unity is founded on, this idea of the power that is within us and our ability to connect with it through our thinking, through our feeling, and to allow that life to have its life in us, through us as perfect life. And so it was a wonderful reminder for me. It also reminded me that someone, after a new member class recently, I show a movie, and the movie talks about the experiences of Myrtle Fillmore and Charles Fillmore and their healing of the body. And she said, well, if this is what Unity is about, why don't we talk about it more? You know? If this was the foundation of the Unity movement, which it was, why are we not hearing more about it? And I thought, wow, that's a really good question. Why do I not talk about it more? And so it really has caused me to stop and think, because I do have friends in my life, people in my life in this community and outside of this community who are experiencing physical manifestations, illnesses, or some outpicturing of that imbalance in their lives. And so it's really important, I think, for us to look at that teaching. In fact, I think that, I was thinking this morning, and this is really just something I'm pondering, and I invite you to ponder as well, that there's been a lot of discussion in the Unity movement about why we're experiencing so much decline in our ministries, why people are leaving, why so many of our ministries are closing. What is that about? Why are we not seeing an increase? And what came to me about that, and again, I'm just offering it up, is that maybe it's because we're not clear about our message. I think maybe our message has gotten somewhat diluted. If you go back and you read Charles Fillmore's books, or you read the letters of Myrtle Fillmore, you will see that they were very clear. They were explicitly clear about what they were teaching and what they believed about the power of the mind. One of the books I love best from Charles Fillmore is The Atom-Smashing Power of Mind. And he talks about the power we have to heal the body, focusing primarily on the body. And so we've gotten away from that teaching somewhat. And so I thought, well, what a great opportunity for me to explore it, and to explore it with all of us. What is that teaching? What is this thing that we think of as the body? What is the power that we have to affect the body and to heal the body, so to speak? And I use that quotation marks because I like this idea that there really is nothing to heal, there is only the truth to remember. There is nothing to heal. There is only the truth of the activity and the life of God within us, as us, to remember. And I believe that Myrtle Fillmore and her story is a great example of that. Now, Myrtle Fillmore, so I'm going to begin with a little bit of history lesson. Some of you, this might be new to. For some of you, it may be a reminder. But unity was actually founded on the idea that we can heal our bodies through the power of our thinking and feeling, the power of mind. And Myrtle Fillmore grew up believing that she had inherited the potential to demonstrate in her body what was then known as consumption, now known as tuberculosis. At the time, it was believed that, yes, this was an inherited condition. Science is now questioning whether that's even true. Is it inherited? Or the possibility might be inherited. But that is part of the beauty of the story, is that Myrtle Fillmore grew up believing that she had inherited tuberculosis. And she lived her life being conditioned that her body was weak, that she would not live to be very old, that she had to really watch her energy level. She could only do so much in her life. And so she lived the belief that was implanted in her mind. Now, did she have tuberculosis? I don't know. But because she believed she did, and she believed that this was her fate, she manifested the symptoms of what was then known as consumption. And she believed that it was a death sentence. And so she experienced that, and up until she was in her 30s, she was experiencing that, and they even moved from the high-altitude, dry climate of Colorado to the lower, more humid climate of Kansas because of her illness. So they were arranging their lives according to her belief that she was ill. And one day they went to a lecture by a man named E.B. Weeks, who was into this whole idea of the mind cure, the power of the mind. And Myrtle Fillmore heard him say, "I am a child of God. Therefore, I do not inherit illness. I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit illness." Now, can you imagine Myrtle Fillmore, who grew up believing that she had inherited this life-denying, fatal disease, and who had lived for decades of her life believing it, and not only believing it, but also demonstrating the symptoms of it, to hear, "I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit illness." What a powerful statement. And can you imagine the shift that would have to occur in her mind, in her way of thinking about herself, that would eventually demonstrate in a body that no longer demonstrated or manifested the symptoms of tuberculosis? What I want to say and affirm to us is that it was not an instantaneous transformation. She didn't hear the words, take it in, immediately believe it, and then, wow, I'm healed. Now that happens. that was not her experience. But she took that one statement and she went into meditation daily, for years. And she affirmed the life of God as her own. She affirmed the life, the one power, the one presence as every aspect of her being. She claimed the truth that her body is the expression of the life, the perfect life of the divine, God, Spirit, however you want to define that, or what word you want to use for that. And she went through a process of blessing her body, of asking her body to forgive her for all of the negative things she had said about it over the years. And she aligned her thinking and her feeling and her very spirit with the life of the divine expressing as her. And through the process of claiming who she truly is and claiming the truth about her body, aligning every thought, every feeling, releasing the thoughts and the feelings that were not in alignment with that truth, she was able to embody that energy, embody the truth of the divine as her. And her body responded. Her body responded. Her body shifted and changed and eventually no longer demonstrated the symptoms of tuberculosis. And we talk about the fact that she healed herself. Well, first of all, she did not heal herself. There is only one source. She aligned with the truth of who she is. And as she aligned with that truth, her body healed. Her body came into alignment with the truth of who she is, which is the very Christ, the very light, the very truth of us. And so, again, what I want to say to us, and what I also want to say about that, is if you are experiencing some sort of imbalance, disease, something going on in the physical body, I am not saying this in order for you to beat yourself up or to feel guilty. If what I'm trying to really say to us is what I believe the unity movement is saying to us, and I said a few weeks ago, is that we are really focused on, hopefully, empowering ourselves to transform our lives at whatever level we desire to transform our lives, whether that's physical, emotional, our relationships, that our consciousness affects all of it. And we have the power to shift our consciousness to be in alignment with that perfect, whole, complete life that God is in us, through us, and yes, as these bodies. Now, if you are experiencing something in your body that is out of alignment with that perfect, whole, complete life, please Do not judge yourself, because that only takes you further out of alignment. It's like we start right where we are, just like Myrtle did. She started right where she was. She had already developed, already exhibited, already demonstrating the effect of what she believed to be true about her body and about herself. She didn't stop and say, oh, maybe she did, I don't know, but I hope she didn't stop and say, oh, why was I thinking that for so long? How could I possibly believe that? Oh my God, what did I do to myself? How can I possibly get out of this situation? No, that does not help. We start where we are. Right where we are. Just like a child learning and growing and expanding and demonstrating that what they are learning and growing and knowing. You know, if we've got a 2-year-old who's learning to talk and is learning to walk, if they fall down, you're not going to say, oh, you're so stupid. Why would you be doing that? No. Can we treat ourselves the same way? Can we start right where we are, wherever that happens to be, and begin to affirm the life of God that is moving in us, through us, as us? As Paul said, the body is the temple for the living energy of the divine. We are vessels, here to be vessels for that divine life. And we begin by affirming that for ourselves. The mind is an energy field, thought, feeling, energy, in which this physical form demonstrates. It interacts with the mind. The body is an energy field that interacts with the energy field of mind. And our power lies in shifting our minds, changing our thought, changing our way of thinking, our way of believing, and our way of feeling. And the body responds to that. So I want to encourage us to be aware. Like Myrtle was saying, oh, yes, I said these things about my body, and my body responded. What are you saying about your body? What are you saying about your body? Are you affirming daily that my body is a temple of the living God, and I appreciate my body? I love my body? Can you stand naked in front of the mirror and say, I love every aspect of you? How many of us would stand naked in front of a mirror and be able to love the reflection in the mirror? Everything about it. Well, if you can't, do it. That's a great place to start. It really is a great place to begin. Because if you look in the mirror and you're criticizing your body, guess what? Your body responds to the criticism of your body. And I'm speaking to me as well. It's so easy, because we are trained that as we get older, we're not as attractive. If we have wrinkles on our face, we've got to do something about that. If we gain a little weight, oh my God, well, I'm just ugly. I can't possibly, whatever that is. So I want to challenge us. I want to challenge you. Go home. Take off all your clothes. Stand in front of a mirror, a full-length mirror, and bless every aspect of your body. and notice when those critical thoughts come up. Notice when the mind wants to say, well, you're sagging in places you didn't used to sag. You've got more gray hair than you did last year. You know how those things, am I the only one? You know how those thoughts come up. What I want to say to you is that, guess what? You'll never look any better than you do right now. You'll never be any younger than you are right now. Now, you may look better, but in your own opinion, you'll never be any younger than you are right now. Think about 20 years ago when you looked in the mirror, and what did you criticize then? Some of you probably aren't that old, but. So what I want to say is that it's important for us to be aware of the energy that is in our minds, in our feelings, that the body is demonstrating. What is the body responding to? And there are great healing stories in the Bible about Jesus affecting healing or facilitating healing. And one of the ones I love, and I know you're familiar with it, is where the man was healed. Jesus healed him, or he received his healing. He opened up and accepted who he is, and his body responded. And Jesus said, don't go tell anybody. Go and tell no one. But he did, didn't he? Why did Jesus say, don't tell anyone? Again, because it is when you tell someone what you know is true and they tell you, oh, that's not possible, that affects your consciousness. That affects your willingness and acceptance of your truth. Have any of you seen the commercial for CenturyLink? Where they say, oh, I signed up for CenturyLink and I got the same rate for life. They gave me the same rate for the rest of my life, and everybody says, oh, that's not possible. They wouldn't do that. There's no way that's possible. That's what I'm talking about. Don't go and tell people unless you know they are going to be with you in the vibration of your acceptance of who you are, what you are, and accepting of your knowing that your body is a temple of the living activity of God, and that as you claim it, as you allow it, your body responds to that. Begin where you are. Say positive things to your body. Affirm the life of God in every aspect of your body. I've been exhibiting some issue with my knee recently. I went to see Dr. Pete. He helped me with that. It's still hurting a little bit. I'm going to talk next week about how we can align with others, how we can use the energy around us to help us come back into remembrance of that. But what I mean about that is that, yes, it's still showing up for me. What is it showing me? What is it telling me? How am I talking about my knee? This damn knee is driving me crazy. Why do I say that? I love my knee. I love how beautifully it works, how it allows me to walk and to move about in my day. I love this body because it allows me to experience so much of the wonderful things in life. I love every gray hair because it shows how wise I am. I love every wrinkle on my face because it's a result of all the joy I've experienced in my life. However, that works for you. Love your body because your body really is a manifestation of the life energy that God is. It's a vehicle for us to experience all the wonders of this dimension. All the great things. We experience each other through touch and and through, we get to experience the beauty of nature, the mountains, and we'll talk more about that next week. But next week I want to talk about how we interact with other energy fields, how the body interacts with food and water and nature and each other, and how that affects the body as well. And as a part of that, I want to invite those of you who help to facilitate or have a product or a service that helps to facilitate remembrance in some way of the body, the natural flow of the body, to be here next week after service and to share that with people, because it is important. Important for us to know who in this community is involved in that, who is involved in facilitating and supporting our well-being. And so I'm going to invite you to be a part of that if you would like to next week when I talk more about how those things affect us as well.